Welcome back, Levi here. I'm excited to talk to you today about fascia. It is the singular unit that joins this whole body together. So the past videos, if you haven't seen them, go see them, they're excellent. We talked about resistance, which is how to understand where is the best zone that your body heals in. The next video we talked about muscle balancing. We talked about where pain comes from. We talked about local areas. Today we're going to talk about how it all ties together into this one beautiful system that you can understand. If I have pain here, it might not actually be starting from here. So if you have an area of pain or concern that you've been diligently working at, maybe if you even reach the wall where you feel like, I've tried a lot of stuff, I don't know what works, in order to be safe, I'm not even trying any more things. I want to give you this as a tool to recognize your pain might actually root and come from somewhere else. And we'll show you how to effectively decide that in your own body with some really cool drills. So let's dive into fascia. All right, let's dive into fascia. The cool thing about understanding fascia, as I hope you will by the end of this video to a new extent that is empowering, is that we can begin to work through things in our body that might have been there a long time, might have developed from other issues. Let's say you have a collapsed arch in your feet. You can imagine that is the base. It is going to inform and change the joints, the alignments going all the way up your body. And it does so via fascia. Let's say you have been dealing with a lot of neck, joint pain, shoulders, maybe you work at a computer. There are certain fascial pools that if you have stress up here in your neck, might not really start there. It might actually be pulling down towards your hips because of sitting. So let's dig into fascia. Fascia, I like to explain kind of like a plastic wrap, kind you would put over leftover foods. If you were to wrap the tip of your finger bone in fascia and then join it to its tendon and then the muscles around that and then the rest of the finger and then the fingers around it, then the hand, the wrist, the arm, elbow, shoulder, torso, hips, legs, feet, all of it gets wrapped up. And imagine all of that kind of adhering together. Fascia is one unit through the whole body. Each movement informs the rest of the body because it's all connected through fascia. Interesting enough with fascia, because it is one, if it pulls towards somewhere, it pulls from everywhere. That is worth knowing because let's say you have an issue or a pain in your shoulder that you have worked really hard to try to fix and address, but it's not really made it anywhere, or you hit a plateau, or you hit a spot where it just didn't get better from there. You can actually begin to explore with some of these concepts other parts of your body that could be locked up, pulling, let's say, a shoulder down towards your hips. So I'm going to show you a drill here in a minute that will allow you to explore where pulls are coming from. We're going to use a drill where we lie you down, we have you lift an arm, find that first resistance like we talked about in the first video, and then we're going to bend a knee. Try it again. Did it move easier? Did it move harder? Did it move just the same? Bend the other knee, bend both knees. And my hope with this is that it will begin to put you in touch with how connected your body is, and it's that way because of fascia. So there are a few ways that fascia gets bound up. It can do so because a body part has been injured and in its healing process has kind of adhered to the spot or glued itself to the spot. Maybe it's done so through scar tissue. Scar tissue can lock up fascia and muscle in an area. Maybe it's trapped in a joint. We have many different kinds of joints, but the one that it tends to get trapped in is a ball and socket joint because it has all this room to kind of gather in and get jammed. Again, if it gets jammed, it's going to be pulling you from everywhere. So let's go through some movements to really get you familiar with fascia, how it's integrating the whole body. Hopefully it will be pretty insightful and give you some new tools to explore movement, healing, freeing up your body, doing what it's supposed to do through understanding how interconnected this whole thing is. Welcome back. Levi here with my sister Hannah. Hannah, thanks for helping us out again. I'm going to actually take Hannah through something new. Being my sister, she is privy to a lot of the movement, stretches, and exercise I'm constantly developing and working on. And it's been a fun journey. So this will be kind of fun to throw something new at her. She is going to be learning it right along with you. Literally have not covered it until this moment. So that's going to be fun. In our previous videos, we've talked about bringing awareness through breath. We have talked about creating some joint balance through the pelvic tucks. It was interesting after that video, and we wrapped it up. Hannah mentioned she could feel some of her organs repositioning, moving, which is kind of cool. Today, we're going to be talking about fascia and doing a drill that's going to help you explore the fascial system in your body to determine if the pain is coming from a local area or if it's coming from elsewhere, called the global body. So, Hannah, I'm going to go ahead and if you lay back. You can do this movement standing, you can do it lying down on your bed, on the couch. But I'm going to just show you the very bare bones basics of how to do this on the floor. Again, lying on your bed would be a good option, or in a recliner, fully laid back. So Hannah, I'm going to go ahead and have you keep your knees straight as they are this time. I'm going to have you take your left arm, and I'm going to have you slowly reach up and over the head, and I want you to stop where you feel the first resistance. So if you're at home, first resistance is when the limb suddenly feels a little heavier, or it feels like it's gotten blocked by something, or it feels like it's trying to recruit surrounding areas to move with it, or it feels painful, or stress arrives anywhere in the body. So here, see Hannah's shoulder, her lat on this side starting to grab. What does that feel like in your body?
It feels like a tightness in my lat, behind my left shoulder, and like it restricts movement for the rest of my arm, of my left arm.
Okay.
Just a general tightness that radiates out from that area.
So go ahead and relax your arm down back to your belly. For those of you at home, you are so used to being able to move through 4 ranges of motion, but that might include tension, tightness, and pain. What I'm trying to introduce here that is different is I want all movement to be at ease, to be fluid, to be accessible, not in pain, movement that heals your body, and that's what we're aiming towards. So that's that sweet spot, that first resistance we're looking for. But now we're going to do something cool to see if what Hannah has going on with her shoulder mobility has to do with a local constriction or a global constriction, or maybe a little bit of both. So here is the way to do that. It's pretty simple, pretty straightforward, hopefully a little bit mind-blowing because of how simple it is. You can do this at home. Some cool applications for it is if you have a therapist that you like to go to for body work, alignment, stretch, exercise, this helps you understand where that might be coming from so you can more effectively work through that with them. It's also something, if you're a self-starter at home, gives you just some more tools to go with. So a little recap on fascia. It is the system that integrates everything. It's wrapping on this whole body. It is one unit, but it goes everywhere. And remember I said, if it pulls towards somewhere, it pulls from everywhere. So we're going to see if either of Hannah's hips are contributing to her tightness in her lat or in her shoulder. So Hannah, if you would go ahead and bend your left leg up, and just relax it there. And then do the same movement with your arm. And still looking for first resistance. So you see she's mindfully, slowly moving through it to see where it moves easily. And as soon as it starts to grab or resist, you're going to have her stop. So it's in a similar place. So it would seem that this hip is probably not contributing a whole lot to the constriction in her shoulder. Otherwise, we would have seen a noticeable change. From my point of view, I see a little bit of a change, so there is some contribution. Ideally, what we're looking for is a massive change. Something clear to you so that you can know in your own body, like, oh wow, this shoulder, it moved more from that change. So go ahead and relax that shoulder, relax that leg. Go ahead and bend up your right leg. So that was us testing to see if the left hip fascia was a contributor to her shoulder restriction. Now we're going to see the right hip. So go ahead and go through the same movement. So that's cool.
Big difference.
So Hannah got her arm all the way back. The cool thing about this, there is no rehearsal, no script for this one. This is all real time. This is your first go at it. What we have just discovered, along with you, is that Hannah's right hip fascia is creating enough of a constriction and a pull through her whole fascial system that it's restricting her range of motion in her left arm. And we discovered that because we took we put some slack into the fascia here and took that kind of out of the picture. And her range of motion in her arm went all the way. Do you feel any constrictions there?
It feels quite comfortable.
So we didn't even run into a first resistance. The important thing with this is now Hana knows her shoulder range of motion issue. Everyone even call it issue because she didn't have pain in her shoulder, right?
No.
Just some limitations, some constriction in the movement. Ideally, again, we want her to be able to move through the whole thing without it feeling like a threat to her brain, with it feeling completely comfortable for her body, because that type of movement heals the joint, heals the body, allows all the right fluids to flow in. But the constriction that we found will limit that. But what we found is it's not a shoulder issue, it's a hip constriction, which is just a cool piece to kind of know how fascia works. You can explore this at home. You can do both arms. Something else that we can even try is, Hana, go ahead and bend this leg up. And then, does that feel any different in that shoulder? Any more relaxation? The same? Different?
Same. It feels the same.
For Hana, it's the same. For some of you, I want you to try straight legs, arm up, find the constriction, come down. Bend one leg, same thing. Bend the other leg, same thing. Bend both legs, same things. Because some of you might have a fascial constriction coming from both legs. So it's just one more step to take. For Hana, we know it's actually limited to this right hip, which is cool. Again, that's kind of just a teaser, food for thought, to help you recognize how it's all connected. So the fascial system is the global system. That is a cool way to see if you have a local issue or a global issue, to see if it's something stemming from fascia or elsewhere. Some really advanced thoughts to make really simple for your own life. Explore this in your movement. Again, you can do it standing, bend a leg, lift your arm. You can do it lying down. This one's pretty easy to connect to. Next time we're going to be talking about integrating all of the levels we talked about in the last 3 sessions. Guarding, first resistance, pelvic tuck, muscle balancing, fascial system, global system. And we're going to be putting it all into a psoas lunge stretch, something you're probably familiar with a few little tweaks. All right, hopefully you're more comfortable with fascia now. As a little recap, fascia joins the whole body together. If it pulls towards somewhere, it pulls from everywhere. There's a few ways and areas fascia can get caught up. Adhesions, scar tissue, ball and socket joints, particularly the hips. We can have pains that are coming from elsewhere because of fascia. Everything is integrated. Our next video session is going to be integrating these first 3 videos today, talking about first resistance and guarding, talking about muscle balancing, pelvic tuck, talking about fascia integration, local versus global body. We're going to wrap those all into one. It's kind of like a super move, a stretch that is really going to make some massive changes in your body. May even ease up some back pain for some of you. It's going to give you some more awareness in how to breathe, structure, and reestablish neutrality in your body through your pelvis. We're going to utilize that pelvic tuck to get you there. And we're also going to be taking one huge step forward to getting your abs to engage. One thing I haven't talked intensely about, but is worth talking about as a teaser for the next video. Neurologically and physiologically, if you have tight hip flexors, which most of us do from sitting and the way we sleep, then it's going to be pulling you forward. It's going to be overstretching and disengaging your glutes. It's going to be distending and overstretching your abs. Neurologically, you probably have a lot of strength in your abs that you just can't turn on right yet. But the moment we open your hips and engage some of these back muscles, your abs automatically will be able to turn on, just because of how the brain works. So get ready to turn those abs on, and we'll see you here shortly.